Let's take a look at building out the back. I think some of us are having some issues safely moving up the field, especially from a goal kick or a goalkeeper save. So what we're looking at here is your recommended 3-2-1 formation. We have our defensive line with the right back, left back, and center back. We have our two mids, and then we have our center forward striker up top. So we have our goalkeeper on the ball here for a goal kick, or this could be, as we mentioned, a goalkeeper save as well. Now, since we are in U10, we have the build out line, and we want to take advantage of that build out line. And instead of playing to the top of our 18, closer to that line, we're going to play deeper, and we're going to create ourselves a little bit more space. So I would recommend dropping your right and left back to the outsides. They can be inside the 18 here, the penalty box, if needed, especially if your goalkeeper is having trouble dropping a ball to them, or they can actually be wider if you have confidence in making that pass as well. Our defense here has to be beyond this build out line, and they cannot cross until that ball is kicked. So there's plenty of separation as long as we create that distance ourselves here. So my first suggestion then is to choose a side, and we can play it out to the right side here. And you'll notice as we play that ball, we begin to shift field. So our far side back is now moving upfield, shifting toward the center. We have our midfielder shifting up and toward the right. We have our forward shifting to the right, and we had our number 4 and our other midfielder shifting over as well. And what we've created initially here is a little nice passing triangle for our players. Now, once that ball, of course, is played, we are going to have defenders come toward us. And we do want, if possible, our number 2 to create engagement with those defenders. So you can do this often by dribbling forward. Many times you may not have to dribble. They're simply going to pressure you because the ball was played to them. But as you move upfield and they are engaging you now, we don't want to hang on too long. Always make your decisions very early, several yards before the defender closes in on you. And if you're used to playing our rondo and positional games, we've created this setup where you are now making quick decisions as a single defender is pressuring on the inside. And this should look very familiar to you right here. So at this point then, we have some options. And the best option is to go wide. Whenever we're building up, we always want to go as wide as quickly as possible. It gets us away from the center where a turnover transition is threatening a goal. So we can spread the field at this point by playing to our midfielder who has moved wide. As you can see from the diagram, we have several options here. We can dribble upfield to stay wide, play the ball up to our forward, the far side midfielder who's moved up, or even recycle the ball to the back. I know most of us are not comfortable with this yet, but that is good soccer if there is no pressure from this defender to possibly move the ball back and then switch to the middle and the other side of the field. So once we get here, though, of course, we can choose that. Now, these are just some options from the number 8, but of course, we can continue to move position still. And this next movement will show the striker kind of making a run down line where we can play the ball straight ahead here. And the rest of the players would shift accordingly then. We do want to remember that as this ball is moving up the field, we refer to it as a build out, so we want the rest of our players to be moving out and up the field as well. So as this ball crosses midfield, we want our midfielders moving up to midfield and our defenders moving to the build-out line. And as we get further and further upfield, we want to make sure that those players are not only keeping their structure in their lines, but they are moving up the field. Ideally, if that attacking ball is inside the opponent's 18, then your defenders are at midfield. And then they are there to prevent a counterattack by closing up the space quickly, but they're also there so that your midfielders can drop a ball back to them as needed, and we're not simply playing attack with just forwards and midfielders. So let me give you one last option here. and this is going to incorporate your center back. So what we are doing slightly differently here is we're going to move our center back inside to receive this pass, and we're moving the number 2 and 3 up further upfield. So from the start now, we're already advancing a little further. Obviously, an issue that we may have is your defenders are at the build-out line, but hopefully we can move them with our passes. So we've dropped a center midfielder kind of to where the number 4 was before, and then our other midfielder is in that same position. And our center forward in its same position as well. So we can, this one is set up to the right side to play to the right. You could easily flop the number 4 here, or one option would be to actually slide the 1 over and let number 4 take the kick, and just shifting everything from the right to the left very quickly there. But you'll find kind of your comfortable players that you can trust making these decisions. We will play it out to the number 4, and of course, once we do so, we're going to immediately have pressure. As we said before, try to engage the defense to come further. If they are holding at the build-out line or further back, then this gives us an opportunity to advance the field, you could say freely, and then make a decision. Again, just a reminder, as we do dribble, we don't want to just dribble until our space runs out. We want to dribble until we see an opportunity to make that pass before it's too late. So if you notice, again, we have our nice triangle. In essence, this looks like our nice little 4v1 rondo, doesn't it? So we can make a decision here to hopefully play out wide, avoiding that center. And as we play to the number 2, now that number 2 has multiple options again, going back toward our midfield. Much safer, of course, once we have crossed the build-out line to go to the center. We can go to our other center mid here. We can dribble down line. And of course, we do have that recycled ball if needed. Just like before, of course, we could shift our players, and the number 9 could make that same run that we did before. Again, major difference here is simply, I think, the fact that we're able to move our players upfield faster because the number 2 and 3 are further upfield to begin with. Again, work on these at practice, get comfortable making those short passes and quick decisions. The more you play those rondos, just simple keep-away games, the more comfortable your players will be in making those 5, 10, 15-yard passes as they work to build up the field. Thank you, coaches.